Boom boom bap 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 bap. Boom boom bap 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 bap. Boom boom bap 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 ding. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies Quarantine Edition, the podcast where Matt and Todd watch a movie on Netflix using a top 100 list that we found, and then we use a random number generator to find the movie, and then we watch it and we talk about it and we share our thoughts with you, the public, but we also welcome your thoughts as well. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy. And yes, welcome to this episode where we will be talking about a film once again. So before we get into that too far, we will talk about our sponsor. We welcomed them last time, although I think the audio was not that great when we were doing the sponsorship part. So today we will endeavor to have better reading during that time. And
You're sounding good right now, Matt. So
yes, I feel confident. I'm seeing my voice levels are in the orange area on our recording program. So hopefully this will work out. So yes, we have a sponsor, our first sponsor, and that sponsor is the Santa Fe Writers Project, or SFWP for short. SFWP is an independent publishing house that has been helping authors and books connect with the world for 22 years with a wide range of fiction and creative nonfiction. The founder, director, and friend to the podcast, Andrew Gifford, has offered 25% off to all our listeners when you order direct through his website, sfwp.com. Just use the coupon code MOVIES when you check out. That's MOVIES as a coupon code for 25% off any books. Thank you to the Santa Fe Writers Project for helping make the magic happen here at Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. Everyone go support a small business and buy some books. Yay!
that sounded wonderful.
Good. I'm so glad. I was not happy with our last sponsorship read. So, on to the movie portion of this podcast. We used random number generator number 10 was the random number, and that came out to be somewhere in the beginning of the alphabet. In fact, the B's, and we watched a movie called Blue Ruin. This is not a movie I'd ever heard of before.
Me neither.
And I can't say that I recognized anyone who was in it either. It seemed fairly no names and fairly unknown film. So I believe it was from 2013. I could be wrong on that year, but
I think you're correct, actually.
Okay. So what's this all about? Well, it's about there's a guy we sort of meet at the beginning of the film. He's definitely down on his luck. He looks like he's living in, I think he's actually living in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. We did a little bit of research while we were watching the movie and figured that out. And so it's set in that area. The beginning of the movie. Anyway, so the guy's down on his luck. He's homeless, living in his car, basically, really old, junky kind of car. And he gets some news that somebody's getting out of jail, and this person killed his parents. So he's frustrated by this and makes some plans to go exact revenge. And then kind of the rest of the movie is interaction between him trying to get at this guy and subsequently trying to deal with the guy's family. So it's like a family situation of bad guys, I guess you want to say, who know about the murders that happened and the guy who went to prison. And so the movie's kind of it's a thriller. It goes back and forth. There's lots of scenes of people sitting in houses waiting for things to happen and other people coming into the houses. And um, y- you you try to figure out uh, what actually went down with the murders, and who's in the right and who's in the wrong, and that's what the movie unfolds.
Yes.
So, what did you think, Todd?
Well, first, a couple of comments to clear up some of the things you said. The rundown car was a Pontiac Bonneville. And I only know that because I had a Bonneville for a while. And every time I saw the car, I was like, "Oh, look at that, a Bonneville." Mine was white, his was blue, no big deal. So, and then I recognized two people in this movie. I recognized the main character, but just in those kind of like, who's that guy? He looks so familiar after I have to IMDb him. He was, besides other things that I've seen in him, I think the most recent thing was he was in The Hunt, the movie we watched in theaters and reviewed.
Oh,
I'm not sure if he was a hunter or hunted, but because he definitely, I don't feel like he has a memorable part in that movie, but I do remember like just one of those faces. And then there was another guy in the movie who I was like, I know that guy. I've definitely seen him or something. So outside of that, I think my last comment transitions nicely into how I felt about this movie, which was I think there could have been a really solid movie in this if it was with better actors, is kind of where I'm landing for this movie. It's just like it's to me it's a very interesting story, and it's also incredibly slow, which is not inherently bad if you have actors who can carry that story if it's very slow, but I didn't really feel like they had those actors to do that in this movie, so I was bored a good amount of the movie because like you said, there's just a lot of waiting in this movie. So you have this down on his luck, or honestly, it kind of made it out to be like this is the life he's just chosen to be poor or whatever and live in Rehoboth Beach. And you have this guy get out of prison, and then really honestly, in the first 20 minutes, he meets up with that guy and then he kills him, which is not really a spoiler because the movie is really about the guy who he killed's family and this guy who we're following. So that starts this like weird cat and mouse game of like families after him. He might not be done with the family. There's some okay acting, but I think it would have been a lot better if it had better acting going on. So, um, honestly, I really just felt like this was a missed opportunity because I was really digging the story, but it just wasn't. It wasn't carried across well for me to continue to really care about the story. Like I was like there, but I was let down. The only real part of the film that I was like, that I was like, this is a masterpiece. What I'm watching right now is that at some point he takes an arrow to the leg, like someone shoots him with an arrow, our main character, and then he goes to like a drugstore and buys some like gauze, uh, you know, stuff that you need to clean a wound, and then he's got some pliers, and like he's setting up this elaborate thing where you're like, and the entire time I'm thinking to myself, is he gonna dig that arrow out himself? Like, wow. And I was like really frustrated because I was like, why does he know? Like, there's nothing in this movie that makes me believe he can do this. And then he tries to do it, and then the next scene just is a smash cut, and he's in the like he goes to the hospital, and he's like, I need help with my leg. And I thought that was just a very funny, good, stellar part of the movie. And then that was about it for what really spoke out to me. So,
That's interesting because I
uh,
really liked his conversation with the clerk too, where he's paying for all this stuff. He's got all this
yeah,
paraphernalia, and
and he's bloody and
he's
like,
and he's handing him like bloody money, and the clerk kind of looks at him and he's like, "Yeah, I just well, uh,
and then he just walks away.
Okay, and then he just leaves. It was kind of a funny moment as well.
Like that kind of like 5 to 7, 8 minute stretch was the best part of the film to me. Like it just was like it touches on things that I hate for sometimes these type of movies, which is characters who don't know how to do stuff magically knowing how to do stuff. Like if he was able to take that, I mean, he got everything. He was going to sew his leg shut. I mean, he got all that stuff ready to go. And then it was like, nope, I can't do this. So I thought that was like a very entertaining, masterful scene in this very who cares, incredibly slow burn movie. So I mean, if you have Netflix, maybe watch it if you feel like watching a slow burn and maybe like more of a kind of psychological thriller is your forte, but I don't know. I don't know if I can willingly say everyone should watch this movie. And that's where I'm going to end, unless you want me to keep rambling.
No, no, it's all good. I'm ready to go.
All
So,
right.
uh, I it sounds like maybe I liked it a little bit more than you did. Um, it was very slow, and I'll agree with you that the acting was not uh, was not really the strongest in this movie. But I can say that I cared about the characters, especially the main character. I really wanted to see how things turned out and see the resolution more than I
Mm.
have in probably the last couple movies that we've watched. Um, I thought that the story drew me in a little bit more, and I cared about the characters a little bit more to try and figure out what is what is the resolution here and what's going on. Um,
Sure.
and I think some of that, like now that I'm thinking about it, like the whole he tries to do all this stuff and he doesn't really know how to do it. That comes up again later. He sort of meets up with a high school friend and tries to get tries to get a gun from his friend, and his friend is very into guns and
Yeah.
um, anyway, things go sideways, and his friend has to step in and sort of help save the day with gunmanship because the main character kind of botches the simplest thing. Um,
Yes.
so I think that's kind of a recurring theme is that this guy is really in over his head and he's really acting a lot on emotion and just trying to do the next thing and get his revenge on this family. So, would I recommend the film? I guess I would say it's an interesting watch, maybe for a Friday night or something on Netflix, and
Sure.
you can try it out, see what you think. Um, so
Very
yeah,
true.
that's where I'll leave it.
We like to hear your thoughts on the matter. Yeah, I just like I said, I think there was a missed opportunity here as far as just if you had some better actors, like because I thought the story was just so intriguing, and especially since like I said, it's like it's almost dealing with the fallout of he gets his revenge. Basically, one of the first things that happens in the movie, and then it's this kind of evolving story from there of what that means basically and all that kind of stuff. So it just kind of for me it just fell apart with the acting, but I didn't hate it. Definitely wouldn't say that. So all right, how many uh pitchforks would you give this movie?
Yes,
Yeah.
the pitchfork plays a role in this movie.
Yes.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go 2.9 pitchforks out of 5 for this film.
Mm.
Um, I I thought it was a little better than average, and you know, other stuff detracted from it getting into even a higher score, but I feel like it was above average enough to say, hey, maybe give it a watch, and um, and not be too disappointed. So that's
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to sit, 2.9, and yeah, leave it at that. What about you?
I think I'm gonna land at 2.2. Like, I think the story was very intriguing, which kind of had me sucked in through the whole movie. But it was hard at points because of the acting, and then also something that I forgot that just popped in my mind is that the main actor looks way too much like the guy who plays Boyle on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I
Mm,
just like kept seeing him. Like they look very similar, but I don't know. I don't really feel like I should deduct from the movie for that. That's my own fault, but I'm gonna stick with the 2.2
fair enough.
pitchforks.
Pitchforks. Well, that then will wrap up this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed the movie Blue Ruin, uh,
Blue.
starring no one you've really heard of,
Starring
um,
people.
starring
Starring
people doing
people.
things. Um, I think we landed on an average of 2.55 pitchforks out of five
Mm,
pitchforks. So,
nice.
you know, uh, just a smidge above average is our rating. So this is not a must watch. This is a, hey, you want to check out something, might be interesting. You like thrillers, Friday night special on Netflix. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We're all not really doing anything, so
true,
there's not really a reason why you wouldn't watch this movie. So,
true story.
yeah.
Well, so that'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, in the near future, we'll be out of quarantine and back at the movie theater. Don't know how quickly that'll happen, but hope it's soon. So keep on listening. Until then, hang on with us. Stay strong. Be safe, and we'll see you next time.
Da 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 da.
Da da da
Da da
da
da.
da da.